I just want to let everybody know, including Bentley there, that this is being recorded and it is live on YouTube. So I want to welcome everybody that's there on YouTube. I have the chat window up, so if you have any questions, I'm going solo today. So if you could just type the questions in the chat box, that might be easiest for me. Once I find where that chat box went. And you can hear it on YouTube.
Yes, we can hear you fine. Maybe a little softer would be a good idea.
Here we go. I silenced the YouTube, so no one has to hear that one as well. All right. My apologies. Some of you know I just came back from, there's the chat. I just came back from a little weekend away to the point where I seriously went to the store, grabbed what I needed for this, and we are going live with the recipe. No prep done, no dish hiding in the oven. So you're going to see it in real time. Woohoo! All right. So I saw a recipe for garlic noodles, and I thought that sounded really, really good. So I'd like, let's make some garlic noodles. And just clicking some things as I've got multi-computer things going on. Once again, I am doing this solo, so please give me some patience. So we're going to make these garlic noodles. I'll get the recipe out to everybody in a bit later in the week. The recipe calls for butter, about 2 tablespoons, 10 medium cloves of garlic, minced or smashed in a mortar and pestle. So here we've got some cloves of garlic. I'll show you what happened when I was trying to do this. Good way to get the skin off the cloves of garlic is to just push down, and then it breaks the skin, the shell. I've got a little garbage bowl here to the right, so I'm just going to put that in there and put it in the mortar and pestle and do that with the remaining ones. What I like about this recipe is that it's easy and it's quick. And as I said, I just flew in and boy, my arms are tired. Yuck, 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 yuck. And mortar and pestle and just kind of crushing the garlic. Now, if I'm using a half a pound of pasta, the mortar and pestle. So continue with that. I cheated a little bit with the rest of the cloves, and I put them in this nifty little chopper that I have that will give us the garlic in the chopped fashion. All right, so we've got our garlic. I'm going to put that to the side. So we're doing it vegetarian. We're going to use some veg.
Excuse me, Karen, your bandwidth is low and we cannot hear you. We see the recording live on YouTube and that's it.
I wasn't sure if it's just me, but I can't hear anything.
I'm with you, Scott. I can't hear anything either. Okay,
No,
Karen, you're off.
it all went funky. I don't know what happened, but you can't see the two screens yet either, can you?
No, we only see the one with the two little dishes of Worcestershire sauce. Say
Okay, so you're
that.
seeing the
few
top
times.
view, not the side view.
Correct.
Okay.
The side view is up like another person who's logged into the webinar.
All right, let me change that. Thank you very much. Yeah, it did something funny on my end as well.
Now we're seeing the side view and not the top view.
Technology.
Yes, the top view is up at the top as if it was another participant.
Okay, let's.
Rather than be side by side.
There we go.
Yes, can see both
All
now.
right, so we are back in business. For those of you, well, the people on YouTube will see it in a minute. All right. Wonder if nope, I'm still live on YouTube. Okay. So let's see, where did I leave off? Did you hear about using the seaweed to help give it the fishy taste since I'm not using fish sauce or oyster sauce?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then so let's backtrack a little bit. So we got the garlic and I cheated and I did it in the chopper because it's a pain to kind of do it in the mortar and pestle, but this is a good way to take out aggravation. And you just keep on mashing and mashing and mashing. We've got a vegan Worcestershire sauce and a dark shoyu, which is like a soy sauce. And I have 2 teaspoons of each. The recipe, a lot of the recipes will call for fish sauce or oyster sauce, which you can use, but me trying to make it vegetarian, I'm not, but I'm going to put a little bit of seaweed in there to give it a little bit of that same flavor. And then what I prefer to use is I prefer to use a lentil or a bean pasta. So right now I have some red lentil gluten-free spaghetti. The reason I like to use this is even though that the fiber is about the same in a regular pasta and in the lentil or another bean pasta, this has more protein in it, where this has 15 grams of protein in it. A regular pasta is only going to have about 6 or 8 grams of protein per serving. So I'm going to I'm going to move this to the side, swap places so we can get the butter going. Now, if you did want to make this vegan, instead of using butter, you could use oil. So for example, a little bit of sesame oil, which I'm going to put in there as well to give it a little bit of a different flavor. All right, so we've got that melting for medium heat. All right, and then I'll work on my garlic a little bit more, the one that's in the mortar and pestle. And what I'm doing is I have a tea kettle and I'm putting that water up to a boil because it's easier or faster, I should say, to boil the water there and then put it on, transfer it to the stove top. And it just takes less time and therefore saving a little bit of energy. All right. All right, so getting in about the 10 cloves of garlic was about a complete head of garlic that I got, just so you have an idea. And you can add more or less to your preference. Okay, got the butter melting. I'm going to add the garlic. So you'll notice the one that I did in the mortar and pestle. Then I will add the rest of the garlic.
I lost the audio in the top view.
And the recording stopped. I think we lost your oh. Karen, we can't hear your audio. You're both on mute.
I don't know what is going.
The one time it says you had low bandwidth and you're cutting in and out. We have the top view now.
What are you saying? Happened so fast, I didn't get a chance to ask you on the phone. Tired. Where's he live? What moment?
If you're
Let
talking,
me
Karen,
tell
we
you
can't.
about low bandwidth. Whew.
I'd be in the car half the time.
Yeah, it still says your network bandwidth is low. Okay, now we see the side by side.
It's not huge or anything. Kids would love to have.
I don't know where my 5G is. I've only got the regular. Oh.
You're fading in and out, and at this moment, we can't hear you.
What was that?
Both views just came back for me and I couldn't hear you though.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much for the people who are helping. As you can see, we've got the garlic going here in the butter, and I can tell you, it smells amazing. You will keep the vampires away, and I have a feeling I might even keep Bentley away with this one. Okay, so right now they're fragrant, but not browned. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add the sauces. Mmm. Smells super yum. And I'm going to crinkle the seaweed in. Right, so now we remove this from the heat. And I have this amazing pot. I'm going to get out and put up here. And we're going to put in just, well, do you want to use this one? Yeah, we'll do this one. All right, so we're going to use this pot. You can also do it in a skillet. And if you notice, I didn't put a whole lot of water in. It's maybe about an inch of water. And I'm going to bring that to a boil. I think I might. I changed my mind. Put it in a skillet. about an inch of water. Just heating that up. It's pretty close to a boil. I've got it on high, so it should just take a minute. If you wanted your garlic cooked a little bit more, you could keep that going. I'll just wait a minute for this to boil.
Do you pre-boil water when you cook pasta normally? I really like that idea because it takes so long to boil.
I do. It's so you can see how quickly that happened, didn't it?
Yeah, in the kettle, I like that idea.
Yep, I use my electric kettle. And it takes a fraction of the time. And I'm putting the spaghetti. I decided to use this pan because instead of breaking the spaghetti and we're not using a whole bunch of water, that this maybe will help it cook. Maybe a little bit bigger of a pan would have been better, but once it gets hot enough. Now, the reason we don't want to cook it into too much water is, I mean, we could cook it in more water, but we are doing it a little bit al dente. And by using less water, then that's less water we're going to have to get rid of at the end. And we want to cook this so it's a little bit al dente because we will be cooking it a little bit more with the garlic sauce. And we can, and since we've got the boiling water on the side, we can also add a little bit more water if we need to. And with the lentil pasta, it recommends for 8 to 10 minutes. So we'll do the timer for 6. And that'll just cook up. Alternatively, to make this go faster, we could have had this cooking while we were doing our garlic. But instead, you get to listen to me talk. One of the things I'm really excited about is that I've been working on a new class on Ayurvedic medicine and Ayurvedic nutrition. And so hopefully within the next couple of months, I will be bringing that out, which I find very exciting. I know for myself, I'm really trying to find the right, I guess, something that makes me feel better. As I've gotten older, I just can't seem to eat the same way and feel the same way. And I don't know what the best way for me to eat for my body. And this is even coming from someone who's a dietitian, someone who's been a vegetarian for almost 30 years. And there just seems to be just not feeling the same lately. I don't know if it's the way food is grown or made. But one of the things that I was going to try was the Ayurvedic nutrition or Ayurvedic lifestyle to see how that is. I definitely felt better when I cut sugar out of my diet, when I did that for a while, and less wheat, which I do. And that's one of the reasons for using the lentil pasta as well. Or the other one that I like is Banza pasta, but I wanted to use a spaghetti because it's a little bit thinner versus a linguine, and they have the linguine, and I thought that would have been a little too thick. I want to add a little bit more water, and I'm okay with that because the water is at boiling. And so with the Ayurvedic nutrition, it's been around for about 4,000 years. You have to find out what your dosha type is. Some of it's based upon visually the way that you look, your stamina. And then with it takes into account, or then it has different foods that are your body type. And whether you hold on to heat, not hold on to eat. Some things that I thought were really beneficial. One of the things that I've noticed as I've gotten older that I can't drink as much liquid when I eat as I used to, because then I feel like my top muscle, my top sphincter from my stomach to my esophagus doesn't close as well. And so it can cause a little bit more acid reflux. Ayurvedic is 1/3 water, 1/3 food, and 1/3 air in your stomach when you're eating. And so I thought that that was interesting, and trying to start applying that, and drink like an hour before, drink water an hour before you eat, and drink water maybe an hour after you eat, because otherwise you diminish your digestive juices, and you can't digest as well when you have that much fluid in your stomach. So that's some food for thought, every pun intended, for you to take into account over the next couple of months until we do that webinar on one of the first Tuesdays of the month. Anybody have any questions right now? I should check on YouTube and see if we got any questions there. Let's see.
Do you frequently cook pasta in a pan rather than a pot?
No, I'm doing this on the recommendations of a recipe that I saw that gave me the idea to do the garlic noodles. I think the rationale for this is just so it doesn't get too mushy. But I like this idea of cooking the spaghetti in the pan. We have about another minute. And with the bean pasta or any of the gluten-free pastas, I noticed that there is a very small window from when it's almost done to overdone. So really make sure you follow the instructions on the back of the box. And I would even put your timer on for a minute or two before the recommended, and taste it periodically, like every 30 seconds, to make sure that you get the right consistency that you want. I'm just going to toss a little bit more water in here because we're getting a little sticking on the sides. All right, we're going to beep any moment. I'm going to taste the pasta. I'm going to let it cook a little bit more because it's pretty al dente. It said 8 to 10 minutes, and I gave it 6 and a little bit of water. And it's always nice to have a little bit of extra cooking water, because it can you can use it in your sauce, and it gives it a little bit of nice a little bit of extra starchiness to it. It was so nice. I was in Los Angeles this weekend, and one of the things that I like about Los Angeles is even their vegetarian Mexican food. Oh, there's just something about their corn tortillas that are just way better than any other tortillas that I seem to be able to get. That was one of the highlights of my weekend, as well as an In-N-Out milkshake. All right, we've given it about another minute. That's a good al dente. And you want to be really careful when you taste spaghetti noodles. I did it once and the hot water burned a line down my chin. So you need to be careful on that. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap my pans. I'm going to just add the pasta to the sauce with some tongs. A little bit of extra liquid. The pasta water is just fine. Pasta, but I'll live. So then all we do is we want to put this onto a medium-high heat, and we're going to toss this together. And just get it all mixed up. Chinese dishes. If the pasta isn't done enough for you at this point, we don't have a lot of extra liquid. So what you can do is you can get that reserved pasta liquid and just pour a little bit more of that in there. And that'll mix nicely with the garlic and the other sauces to help us really. If you have but for those of you that know, I have like a 350 square foot studio with enough kitchen gadgets in it that I don't have a wok. Heating it up in the pan. And that and oh, I forgot the other part. Cheese. Cheese is optional, especially if you want to keep this vegan. You could have just used all sesame oil, or you could have used the peanut oil. But what you can do is you can add some cheese, you can add some pecorino, some Parmesan. And you just want to continue to stir it up with it. Hear the nice little sizzle. Taste the noodle, see if it's done. Oh my goodness, I forgot. These weren't just garlic noodles. These were garlic spinach noodles. We had to get some veggies in there. That's what it's all about. And the great thing is, I've got some leftover pasta water that I can just pour on the top, which will help create some steam, which will now convert this into a dish that has your vegetables, your protein from the lentil pasta. It has some extra antioxidants from the spinach as well as the garlic. And you can cook this as much as you want just to wilt the spinach to incorporate it into your pasta. And there we have our garlic spinach noodles. And we can turn it off and look how quickly that spinach wilted. And by all means, I'm going to add a little bit more spinach to that a little bit later. But we all know a show isn't complete without me tasting it. You can easily do that. There we go. Well, I just want to say thank you very, very much for joining me, and let's give this a taste. Ooh, looks hot still. That's vegetarian. Pure nutrition. Like I said, this should take about 20 minutes to prepare. We could have been boiling the noodles while cooking the garlic. And then just adding the spinach at the very end with a little bit of the reserved pasta water. And we have a great vegetarian dish. Add some cheese if you want. But otherwise, with using the lentil pasta, we get protein in there. I want to say thank you very much for participating and being a part of this. I will get the recipe out to you. Does anybody have any questions?
It looks good. Now I'm
Mhm.
hungry.
Well, come on over.
That's in the works. We got to work that out.
And right, well, you can go home and make this and it takes all of 20 minutes. As long as you don't have any problems with your internet. Yeah.
Well,
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I want to remind you that this should be every third Tuesday. The first Tuesday of the month is nutrition focused. And the first Tuesday of this month, we're going to be talking of next month, April, we're going to be talking about and eating for the spring season. So we'll talk about which foods are in season and we'll have some recipes for that. And if you have any spring foods that you would like me to have a recipe for on the third Tuesday, you just let me know. Have a great day. Bye-bye.